The discovery. The quantum resonance detector at the Mauna Kea Observatory wasn't supposed to find anything extraordinary that night. Dr. Sarah Chen had developed the experimental device to study quantum entanglement patterns in deep space, hoping to advance humanity's understanding of quantum physics. Instead, she discovered something that would change the course of human history. The patterns were unmistakable, organized, structured, and definitely artificial. Sarah spent weeks analyzing the data, double and triple checking her findings before bringing them to her superiors. The signal showed evidence of quantum-based communication, far more advanced than anything humans had achieved. What amazed Sarah wasn't just the discovery itself, but the implications. The alien civilization wasn't trying to contact Earth. They were simply going about their business, using quantum channels for their own communication. Humanity had essentially stumbled upon their phone lines. Traditional scientific protocol would have demanded years of observation, analysis, and careful consideration before any attempt at contact. The global scientific community urged caution, suggesting that Earth should wait until they better understood what they were dealing with. But Sarah saw an opportunity. "We don't need to wait," she argued in a closed-door meeting with global leaders. "We've already decoded enough of their quantum communication patterns to understand the basic principles. We can do more than just listen. We can join the conversation." Her proposal was radical. Instead of passive observation, humanity would announce itself by demonstrating their understanding of quantum communication. It was like a child learning to speak by listening to adults, then surprising them by joining the conversation. The debate raged for months. Conservative voices warned about the risks of appearing too aggressive, but Sarah's argument resonated with a fundamental truth about human nature. We don't just observe, we participate. We don't just learn, we apply. And we certainly don't wait for permission when discovery beckons. Working with a team of quantum physicists and communication experts, Sarah developed a method to transmit human messages using the alien quantum channels. The first message was elegant in its simplicity, a mathematical sequence that demonstrated both understanding and intelligence, followed by a basic greeting in multiple formats. The response came faster than anyone expected. The quantum channels lit up with activity, and the pattern showed clear signs of surprise and interest. Humanity had done more than just make contact. They had impressed their first alien civilization by mastering their communication method through sheer observation and ingenuity. But as Sarah and her team began decoding the response, they realized they had stumbled into something far more complex than simple first contact. The quantum channels were alive with chatter, and not all of it was positive. They had bypassed established protocols that had governed interstellar communications for millennia. Some of the messages spoke of rules, procedures, and proper channels that should have been followed. Sarah knew they had crossed a line, but she couldn't bring herself to regret it. If we had waited for permission, she told her team, we'd still be sitting in the dark, wondering if we were alone. Sometimes progress means breaking the rules. The messages kept coming, growing more urgent and complex. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy not with timid observation, but with bold action. They hadn't asked for permission to join the galactic community. They had proven they belonged there through their own initiative and intelligence. As Sarah prepared for the challenges ahead, she couldn't help but smile. Humanity had done what it always did. Faced with a locked door, they hadn't waited for someone to open it. They had figured out how the lock worked and opened it themselves. The galaxy would have to adapt to humanity's presence, because humanity certainly wasn't going to adapt to their outdated rules. Breaking protocol. The Galactic Council's first official transmission arrived 3 weeks after humanity's quantum breakthrough. It came not through the quantum channels humanity had decoded, but through a massive energy pulse that temporarily disrupted every electronic device on Earth's eastern hemisphere. The message was clear. We have protocols for a reason. Admiral James Okonjo stood before the United Nations Security Council, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display of the alien message. "They're trying to intimidate us," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Show of force, demonstration of technological superiority, standard tactical procedure when dealing with an upstart civilization. But the Council's attempt at intimidation had the opposite effect. Rather than cowering, humanity's scientists and engineers saw the energy pulse as another technology to decode and understand. Within days, teams around the world were analyzing the transmission method, looking for ways to replicate and improve upon it. Dr. Chen's quantum communication team had expanded into a global network of researchers, each working to push the boundaries of what was possible. They didn't just want to communicate with alien civilizations, they wanted to revolutionize how such communication happened. The Galactic Council's subsequent messages grew increasingly stern. They spoke of protocols established over millions of years, of careful procedures designed to integrate new species into the galactic community. Humanity was expected to wait, to learn, to follow the established path to civilization status. They want us to be students, Sarah explained to Admiral Okonjo during a late-night strategy session. But we're already teaching ourselves more than they plan to share. Their protocols aren't just about maintaining order. They're about controlling access to knowledge. The truth became clearer as humanity decoded more of the quantum traffic. The galactic community operated on a strict hierarchy, with younger civilizations spending centuries proving themselves worthy of each new level of knowledge. It was a system designed to maintain stability, but it also stifled innovation and change. Humanity's response to this revelation was characteristically bold. Instead of accepting their assigned place at the bottom of the hierarchy, Earth's scientists began publishing their findings openly on quantum channels that the whole galaxy could access. Their innovations in quantum communication, their theories about the energy pulse technology, their questions and hypotheses about other observed phenomena. Everything was shared freely. The reaction from the galactic community was immediate and chaotic. Some civilizations were outraged at this flagrant violation of protocol. Others, particularly younger species who had long chafed under the strict hierarchical system, were fascinated by humanity's approach. We're not just breaking their rules, Admiral Okonjo realized. We're challenging the very foundation of their society. The implications were both thrilling and terrifying. Humanity hadn't just joined the galactic community. They had become a catalyst for change. The Galactic Council's final warning came 6 months after first contact. Earth was given an ultimatum: cease all unauthorized communication and submit to proper protocol, or face the consequences. They gave humanity one standard galactic cycle, approximately 30 Earth days, to comply. In response, Sarah's team made their boldest move yet. They didn't just continue their quantum broadcasts, they improved them. Using principles reverse-engineered from the Council's energy pulse, they developed a new hybrid communication system that was more efficient and secure than anything the galaxy had seen before. As the deadline approached, humanity stood its ground. They had never asked for permission to explore, to learn, or to innovate. They weren't about to start now. The galaxy would have to adapt to a new way of thinking, or prove why the old ways were better. The countdown to the Council's deadline became a race against time, but not in the way the Council expected. Humanity wasn't scrambling to comply. They were working to demonstrate that their way of doing things, their relentless drive to push boundaries and share knowledge, could benefit everyone. We're not just fighting for our place in the galaxy, Sarah told her team as they prepared for whatever came next. We're fighting for the idea that progress doesn't have to follow a predetermined path. Sometimes the best way forward is to forge your own trail. The challenge. When the Council's deadline expired, their response wasn't the military action many had feared. Instead, they issued a challenge that they believed would put humanity in its place once and for all. The Galactic Council announced a technological demonstration. Their most advanced ships would arrive at the edge of Earth's solar system, displaying the full might of properly regulated technological progress. The message was clear. This is what awaited species who followed protocol, who earned their advancement step by careful step. The Council's ships emerged from hyperspace in a display that turned night to day across Earth's skies. Massive vessels, each larger than Earth's largest cities, arranged themselves in a perfect geometric pattern that spoke of power tempered by precision. It should have been humanity's cue to submit. Instead, Dr. Maya Patel, head of Earth's Advanced Propulsion Laboratory, saw an opportunity. "They're not just showing us their technology," she told the emergency session of the Global Defense Council. "They're showing us exactly how it works." The ship's formation wasn't just for show. It was necessary for their advanced drive systems to function properly. Their energy signatures, their field geometries, even their communication patterns. Everything could be analyzed and understood by those who knew where to look. Earth's response came 3 days later, while the Council's ships held their position, waiting for humanity's submission. A small vessel appeared among them. The ship, barely larger than a passenger aircraft, was humanity's first faster-than-light vessel. It hadn't been built according to Council protocols or designed according to their principles. It represented an entirely new approach to space travel. The Phoenix, as the ship was called, demonstrated maneuvers that should have been impossible according to conventional galactic science. It didn't need the careful formation flying of the Council's ships. It didn't generate the massive energy signatures that marked proper FTL travel. It simply moved, elegantly and efficiently, proving that humanity had found their own path to the stars. The Council's response was immediate and furious. This was more than just a violation of protocol. It was proof that their carefully maintained technological hierarchy wasn't the only path to advancement. The quantum channels erupted with debate and discussion as other civilizations watched the drama unfold. But humanity wasn't finished. Dr. Chen's team had been working on something even more revolutionary. Using principles derived from both the quantum communications and the energy pulse technology, they had developed a new form of instant communication. No quantum entanglement required, no massive energy expenditure needed. "We call it the light bridge," Sarah explained to a shocked audience of human and alien scientists, "because it bridges the gap between thought and action, between distance and connection." The technology was elegant in its simplicity, yet it represented a fundamental shift in how information could move through space. The Council's representatives were silent as Sarah demonstrated the technology. Their own communication systems, developed over thousands of years of careful protocol-bound advancement, suddenly seemed cumbersome and outdated. But the most surprising reaction came from other species in the galaxy. Messages began pouring in through both official and unofficial channels. Many younger civilizations, long frustrated by the Council's rigid control of technological advancement, saw humanity's achievements as proof that there could be other ways forward. The Arcturians, a species known for their logical approach to progress, were the first to officially break ranks with the Council. "Humanity has demonstrated that innovation need not follow a predetermined path," their statement read. "We choose to explore these new possibilities." Others followed. The Nexus Collective, the Vega Alliance, even some older species who had grown uncomfortable with the Council's rigid control, all began reaching out to Earth. They didn't just want humanity's technology. They wanted to understand humanity's way of thinking, their approach to problem-solving, their willingness to challenge conventional wisdom. Admiral Locanjo watched the alliances shift with a mixture of hope and concern. "We wanted to prove ourselves to the galaxy," he said to Sarah during a quiet moment between crises. "Instead, we might have started a revolution." Sarah's response was thoughtful. Maybe that's what the galaxy needed. Not just new technology, but a new way of thinking about progress itself. As the Council's ships maintained their position at the edge of the solar system, humanity continued to innovate, to share, to push boundaries. They hadn't asked for permission to change the galaxy. They were doing it anyway. Unconventional alliance. The Arcturian delegation arrived on Earth with little fanfare. A single ship landing quietly at the newly constructed International Space Diplomatic Center in Geneva. But their arrival marked the beginning of something unprecedented in galactic history. A coalition of species united not by ancient protocols, but by a shared vision of progress. Ambassador Zyra, the Arcturian's chief diplomat, cut an imposing figure with her crystalline exoskeleton and multifaceted eyes. But when she spoke, her words resonated with an almost human enthusiasm. For 10,000 years, we followed the Council's path, she told the assembled human leaders. We were told it was the only way to ensure stable progress. You have proven otherwise. The Vega Alliance joined next, bringing with them centuries of suppressed innovations that had been deemed too radical by Council standards. The Nexus Collective followed, their organic technology offering fascinating possibilities when combined with human ingenuity. Each new arrival brought not just support, but new ways of thinking about what was possible. Dr. Chen's Lightbridge technology became the backbone of this new coalition. Unlike the Council's rigid communication protocols, the Lightbridge adapted to each species' unique biology and technology. It wasn't just a communication system, it was a symbol of how different species could work together without sacrificing their unique approaches. The Council built their system on the premise that there's only one right way to progress, Sarah explained during a joint human-alien scientific conference. But look at nature, look at evolution. Progress comes from diversity, from trying new approaches, from learning from failure. The coalition grew rapidly, but so did the tension. The Council's ships remained at the edge of the solar system, a constant reminder of the power still wielded by the old order. More concerning were the reports of Council agents attempting to sabotage coalition projects and turn species against each other. Admiral Okonjo worked tirelessly with coalition military leaders to coordinate defenses, but he knew they couldn't match the Council's raw military power. We need something they don't expect, he told his staff, something that changes the rules of engagement entirely. The answer came from an unexpected source. The Nexus Collective, studying human neural patterns, made a breakthrough in understanding consciousness itself. Combined with the Lightbridge technology and Arcturian quantum mechanics, it offered the possibility of something revolutionary, a way to share consciousness across species. Not mind reading, Dr. Maya Patel clarified as she presented the technology. Something more fundamental, a way to truly understand each other's perspectives, to share not just thoughts but ways of thinking. The implications were staggering. The Council's power had always rested on the assumption that different species needed to be carefully managed because they could never truly understand each other. This technology, dubbed the Unity Interface, challenged that assumption at its core. The first public demonstration of the Unity Interface brought together representatives from 20 different species. Human and alien consciousness merged briefly, sharing perspectives and understanding that would have taken decades to achieve through conventional diplomacy. The Council's response was swift and desperate. They declared the Unity Interface an abomination, a violation of the natural order. They threatened any species using it with immediate expulsion from galactic society. But their threats rang hollow. Too many had already experienced the potential of true interspecies understanding. As more species joined the coalition, bringing their own innovations and perspectives, it became clear that something fundamental had changed in galactic society. The Council's rigid hierarchy was being replaced by a network of species working together, each contributing their unique strengths. We're not just building better technology, Sarah observed as she watched human and alien scientists working together. We're building better ways for civilizations to interact. But the Council wasn't finished. As the coalition grew stronger, intelligence reports suggested they were preparing for decisive action. They couldn't allow this challenge to their authority to continue, no matter the cost. The coalition had rewritten the rules of technological progress and interspecies cooperation. Now they would have to prove they could defend what they had built. The final confrontation was approaching, and it would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of galactic civilization itself. New rules. The Council's ultimate response came not as a military strike, but as an attempt to shut down all quantum-based technologies across the galaxy. It was a desperate move, meant to cripple both communication and transportation for most species. They expected chaos, Instead, they revealed just how much the galaxy had changed. The Coalition's Lightbridge network remained operational, unaffected by the quantum shutdown. Ships equipped with humanity's alternative FTL drive continued to fly. What the Council intended as a show of power became a demonstration of their growing irrelevance. But Dr. Sarah Chen recognized the true danger. They're not trying to win anymore, she told an emergency meeting of Coalition leaders. They're willing to damage the entire galaxy just to prove they're still in control. The quantum shutdown was already having unintended consequences. Ancient automated systems, dependent on quantum networks, began to fail. Planetary defense systems flickered. Weather control networks on terraformed worlds started to collapse. The Council was willing to risk a galactic dark age to maintain their authority. Ambassador Zyra's crystalline form pulsed with anger as she addressed the Coalition. For millennia, the Council claimed their strict control was necessary to prevent catastrophe. Now they create the very catastrophe that they claim to prevent. The Coalition had hours, perhaps days, before the damage became irreversible. They needed a solution that would do more than just stop the Council. They needed to show the galaxy a better way forward. The answer came from combining technologies in a way the Council had never imagined possible. The Unity interface, originally designed to share consciousness between species, could be modified to interface with the quantum network itself, not to fight the shutdown, but to transform it. The Council built their networks on control, Maya explained as teams rushed to implement the plan. One-way communication, restricted access, hierarchical structures. We can rebuild it based on connection instead. The plan was audacious. Using the Unity interface as a foundation, they would transform the galaxy's quantum networks into something new. An open system that could be accessed and modified by any species, adapting to their unique needs and approaches. The Council realized too late what was happening. As their shutdown command propagated through the quantum networks, it was met by the Coalition's transformation protocol. Across the galaxy, rigid control systems became flexible networks. Restricted databases opened themselves to all species. The very fabric of galactic communication and commerce began to change. The Council's mighty ships, dependent on the old network architecture, found themselves adrift in space. Their weapons, their shields, their very means of maintaining their authority, all relied on systems that no longer functioned as they had for millennia. But the Coalition didn't seek revenge. Instead, they offered help. Human ships, alongside their alien allies, moved to assist the stranded Council vessels. The Unity interface was offered freely to all species, including those who had opposed them. We're not replacing one system of control with another, Sarah announced on all frequencies, old and new. We're offering a choice. Stay with the old ways if you wish, but know that there are other paths forward. The aftermath transformed galactic society. The Council didn't dissolve. Instead, it evolved. New voices joined, bringing new perspectives. The rigid protocols that had governed advancement for millennia were replaced by guidelines that encouraged innovation while promoting cooperation. Humanity's role in the galaxy continued to evolve as well. Earth became known not for its military might or technological superiority, but for its ability to imagine new possibilities and inspire others to explore them. Years later, at the dedication of the new Galactic Cooperation Center in Geneva, Admiral Okonjo stood with Sarah, watching representatives from hundreds of species working together in ways that would have been impossible under the old system. We did more than rewrite the rules, Sarah observed. We showed that rules should evolve as we do, adapting to new possibilities and new ways of thinking. The Admiral smiled, watching a group of young aliens excitedly sharing ideas with human scientists. And that's the greatest lesson we could teach, that progress doesn't come from following a predetermined path, but from having the courage to forge new ones. Above them, the quantum networks hummed with activity, carrying not just data but consciousness, creativity, and cooperation across the stars. Humanity had taken its place in the galaxy not by asking permission, but by showing what was possible when imagination and determination combined with the willingness to try something new. The galaxy had learned that sometimes the best rules are the ones you write together.